Starbucks. Here's cancer.
It's a little bit darker this morning than usual. I'm enjoying it.
Wait already, you got some sun over the weekend.
I am in my glory. I am. I love the sun and enjoy it.
Had it in abundance.
Yes, we do.
Beautiful weekend.
Yes.
So you know what my problem with the sun is? See the lights up there?
Yeah.
I'm burning right now.
Listen, my grandchildren, the only one that dance like that is my son. Everybody else is translucent. They are like, I call them white walkers. They can't even be in the sun. They can't.
I figured so. Must be too early.
It can be yours.
There we go.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, Chris, ready to roll?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right, I will call this Tuesday, May 31st, 2022 meeting of Lawrence County Board of Elections to order. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Here.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here. Do we have any public comments today?
Yes.
Gary, approach the bench.
I don't really have a prepared statement, but I did. This is just
Thank you.
some data that I have pulled out of the records that I have received. So my comment to begin with is that I've been investigating election integrity since 2017 in this county. And since that time, I have gotten nothing but pushback from the county as far as obtaining records, the county's willingness to look into the issues that I've presented, including my comments not being fully recorded in the meeting minutes or not recorded at all. But I have, over the last month, been in front of either this board or the commissioners to present some of my findings, and the board has still taken no action. In particular, I'm still reviewing some of the records, but in Wilmington Township, which I focused on, according to the state voter roll that I received, 34 people who are recorded as having voted are not listed on the votes cast list that the county has provided me. And on the votes cast list, 37 people who are recorded as having voted by the county are not listed on the state voter roll as having voted, or listed at all. So that's a discrepancy. It should be investigated or explained. Someone needs to explain to me why that number's off, and that's just one township. It's one of the smallest townships as far as population. We're still looking at the rest of the county and comparing these two lists. There's also been a marked increase in the registered voters in the 2020 election compared to prior years. So there was a 4.6% increase in registered voters in 2020, but only a 1.18 increase in votes cast. So these are some things that just need to be explained and need to be reviewed. Several of us have asked that the county commissioners please review the movie 2000 Mules. It is quite explosive. But the people involved in that, True the Vote, in subsequent video podcasts, interviews, they have stated that in another 6 weeks, they're going to be releasing more information that is even more damning and is going to make you forget even about the mules, because they have all the information. They have all of it. They know who the mules were. They know who the social service or nonprofit agencies were that were passing out the ballots. But they've also said that this is just one part of the problem, and this is all going to be coming out. So again, we would encourage you to watch that movie. Another thing that I have presented to this board is that I requested a policy and procedure for the video camera surveillance. So what is the retention policy on how long you hold that video record? There is not a video camera over our drop box in that vestibule. So we cannot, it's not being recorded who's coming in and putting ballots into that box, nor do we know how long before that video would be overwritten. So we don't have any safety background as far as, making sure that that ballot box is protected. And I would like to close with just one question. Who paid for the drop boxes in the county? I know we only have one currently, but in 2020, there were several around the county. And I'd like to know who paid for the boxes.
So I'll do two things. Number one, County Warrants paid for the boxes. That came out of the general fund. Number two, I actually did ask Tim about the votes cast list that you have. That list, which was generated here internally, that's derivative of the shore system. So in other words, any discrepancy or perceived discrepancy between data received on 11/3/2020 from our website and the votes cast list and the state voter roll, et cetera, that's because that votes cast list, that's derivative and generated from data in the shore system. So in any given hour, and by the way, just for the record here, nobody likes the shore system. I'm gonna come out and say that right now. Nobody likes the shore system, and we're looking forward to it eventually being replaced. But that list was generated from data in the shore system, so which is why there's gonna be variances between what's reported, what's on that list, what's not on that list, et cetera.
But the votes cast list is a completely different issue.
No, it's not. It's generated from the shore system.
But the county takes the ballots and scans them through the machines. And you record that and upload it to the shore system.
Yes.
So it is your list. You own it. You also, as the board, have within your control to eliminate that whole process altogether. We don't need the machines. We don't even need them. We could count them locally at our own precincts. You have that within your ability to make that decision so that we have control in our own precincts to count the votes by hand.
So I'm gonna just go back to the shore system. The problem with the shore system is that it's a dynamic system whereby, let's say I die tomorrow, right? My name, once the death certificate is processed and gets sent to the elections office, is pulled out of that system, which means there is no longer any record of Morgan Boyd voting in the 2022 primary election, which means when you add up the aggregate, it's gonna be off by, in this specific case, 1 due to my death. That's why there's a discrepancy.
Well, before you continue, I can tell you, there are people on that list that I know have passed away. So that falls flat.
Well, send them over to us, Eric. We'll send them over.
Would like to see that. so
You have it, yep.
That'd be great.
Yeah, we're
Carolyn
only,
Calzone, someone you know maybe, she's on that list and she passed away.
we're only able to alter that. They're legal in the law. We're only able to alter that list once certain criteria have been met. I don't know all those criteria, the elections officer knows better than I do. But until such time as those criteria are met, we're not allowed to adjust the list. So for example, receiving a notice of death from.
Well, I wouldn't be able to do it if she said so-and-so died. I'd have to have
You confirm it with the Department of Health.
Department of Health, family member with a death certificate.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just an example, but by all means, if you have information relating to people on the rolls.
And what is
Send
the
them over.
process for the public reviewing voter registration cards?
I'd have to talk to solicitor about that.
Okay, right, there's some cards that I'd like to review.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional public comment? All right, moving on to minutes, 5/16. My colleagues may have checked those over, with a motion to approve or make any changes.
I have a question actually about the minutes.
Okay. Can we wait a second?
Oh, I'll second.
Okay. Oh, I can't remember.
If you think of it, let us know, but we're gonna get moving here, because we want to get these guys back in for the recount.
Go ahead.
We have motion and second, any further discussion? Hearing none, press the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Election directors report, Tim, you have anything to that?
Well, I have numbers for the Dropbox
What do you got?
through, since we had the last meeting about it. 335 ballots went through the Dropbox out of 4,263.
Great.
So that definitely helped a lot of people out, might not have to come down to the office, but majority came through the mail. We got a number of late ballots. It was about 45, but they were postmarked.
Right.
There was just nothing, yeah.
What was the total of the, about 4,000 left?
For mail, that was for mailing,
Mhm.
was 4,263.
Thank you.
So that was, it was a successful election, I thought.
Absolutely.
Great turnout.
It was a much higher turnout than I thought. The Republican turnout was quite high. Democratic turnout in mail-ins was high. I thought that was interesting. Just quick figures. I have 1,128 Republican mail-in ballots.
It was me.
And Democratic mail-in ballots, I had 3,135. So that's quite drastic, I think.
Mhm.
But nonetheless, that's what I had. Everything else was fine. So I asked to certify the election. Unless you guys have any other questions about anything.
Questions, comments from the board?
I'm fine, thank you. Again, I'll say job well done.
Thank you.
I have two questions.
Yes.
I believe the law requires that prior to certification that you are obligated to conduct a 2% audit. Has that been done?
That has been done. It was spot on. It couldn't have been any better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Remember you saying those words.
Spot on. I did it in, it was the highest vote count precinct, which was Slippery Rock 1, and it was spot on.
Okay, thank you. And then before we adjourn, I would hope you might take a moment, perhaps Mr. Boyd was going to ask you to do this, but review with us the process you're undertaking with the recount that's going to start tomorrow.
Well, Dan, first and foremost, let's take a motion, if you'd be still willing to certify the election, and then we can jump into the recount.
So move.
Second.
A motion second, any further discussion? Hearing none. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, election certified. Now, if we want to jump into the process behind the recount.
Yeah, the recount I could have started it on May 27th, but I figured with the holiday and everything coming up, I just got things prepared for that. It must start by June 1st, so I'm getting ready for that as well. It says here you must certify all races other than the Senate by June 6th. We're well before that.
Correct.
We must finish the recount by June 7th, which I'm confident of that, and we must certify the recount results by June 8th at noon. So I'm sure we'll be able to get that certified as well.
You said we could have started on the 27th.
Yeah, I did start by moving the ballot boxes from the church in one contained area to another contained area, so.
Yeah, a friend of mine, they did it a little bit earlier in Warren. She was asking how they started it in Warren and was under the impression that we weren't able to start until today. And so I told her, so that's why I asked.
Oh, yeah, well, Ohio, it's different, so.
Well, no, Warren County.
Oh, Warren County, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, Yeah, I did start on the 27th by moving stuff. So that's I wasn't allowed to do anything prior to that, so. But we're ready to go. I got ESS rep here. I have the 200 DS200s precinct scanners. That is where we will scan the mail-in ballots on precinct scanners, and election day ballots will be scanned on the central scanner. So in other words, I have to flip-flop everything. So that's what we're doing for separate. Yes, yes. But like I said, Republican ballots were minimal for mail-ins, so that shouldn't take long, but there will be a large amount for central scanners.
So we'll be back, in other words, I believe on the 7th, right? 6 and 7.
Yeah, 6, 7 at 8:30, yes, for the
That'll be
certified. Yes,
So just to clarify a couple of things, Tim,
yes.
this recount is specific only to the US Senate race on the Republican
That's
ticket.
correct, Commissioner. Yes.
You won't be looking at any other race,
No.
solely which is a triggered recount because of the closeness
Very
of
close.
the statewide result.
Yes,
And am I also correct that the rules governing a recount are state rules? They're not made up by us.
no, sir.
These are rules that are in place in the election code that spell out the steps that we need to take to appropriately conduct this recount.
That's correct.
So you're starting at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Questions, comments from the colleagues?
We're all good.
Great. We will adjourn the Lawrence County Board of Elections and reconvene on the 7th.
Can I ask a question? I remember now what I wanted to ask.
We're adjourned, you can ask a question.
Oh, no, forgive me. Are we adjourning or recessing?
We're adjourning on this one, right? Because we
That's fine with me. I just
Yeah.
wanted to clarify. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Thank you.
Because we've advertised next week's meeting.
Yes.
It was part of the legal ad that was in today's.
Yes.